Yes. How's it going, people? We're back again. What's up? What Guan? What's good? However you guys say. I don't know. Say hi wherever you're from. Um, Welcome again to Strongman 45 MMA podcast. I'm your host Obi. Um, I recently done an episode from Saturday. If you haven't seen it, go have a look. We just was a review of the Dustin Poirier hooker fight card. Just basically giving you my insights as far as what I saw. On that front, what I'm planning to do going forward is after every fight card, I'm looking to actually watch the fights live and then put out a timely reaction to the fight. So basically, like straight after, do a reaction, not straight after, because my housemate's gonna hate me. Maybe the following day, definitely UK, do a reaction as soon as possible. Just whilst it's fresh, whilst it's applicable. So people can actually put it into context. So this episode, then I'm gonna do it. Try and get through it quite quickly. I always say I'm gonna get through it quite quickly, and I end up talking for ages. I'm gonna, fingers crossed, things go to plan this time and get through it quickly. Right. So special episode. We UFC 251. I want to say. Yes, UFC 251, Usman versus Masvidal. Initially, Usman versus Burns. The fight almost fell out due to Burns contracting or being found to have COVID-19. COVID-19, yeah. Jesus Christ. God knows what's happening nowadays anyways. But so Burns fell out of the fight card and then Masvidal stepped in on 6 days notice. I will come to that in the end. What I'm going to work my way up from the prelims. I'm going to be talking about one of the fights in the prelims and then all of the fights in the main card. All right. I'm not analyzing, not talking about. I swear I haven't woken up today, so bear with me. All right. So the fight I'm going to touch on in the prelims is Zaleski dos Santos versus Salikhov. They're not very well-known names, not household names by any means. Actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit and say the thinking I'd go by for picking these fights. I selectively go through most of the fights and wanting to optimize the potential of myself making money, but you as a listener making money off of the fight. So at the end of this review analysis, what I'm going to do is give you my confident picks in terms of like what fights I feel will give you the most bang for your buck in terms of like placing bets. So but for the most part, I'm looking to break down the fights that I feel positive in terms of obviously being able to predict the outcome. But again, some of it being MMA, you're never going to be too sure. So I'm going to just put them in little brackets and categories and say, one of these, so one category is basically a loosely confident about the outcome, whereas another category would be, quite confident essentially. So very confident. So 6 fights in total, starting in the prelims with Zaleski dos Santos versus Salikhov. This is a welterweight fight. So I tend to look at their physical dimensions. So height-wise, they're quite similar. So similar builds. You got Zaleski with a 1.85 meter reach and Salikhov 1.78 meter. So potentially Zaleski can use his reach to his advantage. For me, watching the videos, what I've seen, okay, I'll go ahead in my mouth. Nice. Perks of being beardy. But what I've seen from Zaleski is he tends to is a capoeira guy. So his nickname is Mr. Capoeira. obviously capoeira is like a fighting style in Brazil where you do a lot of spinning kicks and all sorts. So my initial impression from just watching him is like his kicks come from everywhere, right? And he's mainly a stand-up fighter. I'm looking at Sherdog and his records. So he's got 22 wins, 14 by TKO, 3 by submissions, 5 by decisions. And then losses 1 TKO, 2 submissions, 3 decisions. So, excuse me. So from that, you can see that 64% of his wins are knockouts. I want to say from what I've seen though, his hands are not that amazing. So he's very, very fluid and very flary, borrow word from football, very flary with his legs, leg kicks, spinning kicks, also. So obviously, it's no surprise because he's a capoeira guy. He's got like crazy knees, again, inside leg kicks, outside leg kicks, head kicks, all sorts. I'd say also, obviously based on his submission records as well, 3 submissions, not amazing, but from watching him, you see that he's very competent with his BJJ. He's comfortable on the floor. He throws out submissions all over the place when he gets to the floor. His weakness, though, is his wrestling, I would say. His wrestling is quite opportunistic, so he can change levels quite quickly. So if you're advancing on him, he can change levels and just catch you off guard. However, he tends not to be able to chain wrestle too much or be very effective with wrestling. So if he wrestles you and you give him your back, he will take advantage with his grappling. So that's the sort of like the extent of his threat on that front. So usually I would say, not usually, 100% I would say his wrestling is not where it needs to be. So chaining or connecting or bridging his striking with his grappling is kind of a weak point for him. So that kind of reflects in his submission records, I would say. So yeah, wrestling is not where it needs to be. His hands are not that amazing. I'm just talking about his weakness now. His hands are not amazing. It's not very sharp. It's not, it's not, it doesn't carry, it's not banging. His hands don't bang too much. It's a new term I'm going to start using. His hands don't bang like that. And his energy levels is not that high. So his output is not that high usually. Also, his defense on the stand-up is not that great. So his guard is not that tight. So he can easily get hit a lot. So actually, he had a fight with Li Jingliang, yeah, quite recently. I think 2 fights back, and he got knocked out from. It looked like a grazing shot. So you kind of feel like potentially his chin is not where it needs to be, even though on his record he's only had 1 TKO. That's the one with the Li Jingliang. It kind of feels like his chin is not where it needs to be, but also it could be down to, because with the 3rd round knockout, so it could be down to his gassing issues, because it seems to gas a lot, but it slows down a lot towards, in 3rd round. So those are his weaknesses really. So he moves around quite a bit. However, weaknesses wise, gas tank, hands are not that sharp or they don't bang that much. His guard is not that great, and his wrestling is not where it needs to be. So going from there then to my man Salikhov. Salikhov is known for his kickboxing records and history. His nickname is the King of Kung Fu. So coming into the fight, then I feel like people, whenever they're faced with the prospect of fighting him, they're going to be scared just based on his records. He's a killer essentially on the stand-up. So he's got 18 fights, lost 2, 16 wins, obviously, of which 12 of them were knockouts. 12 out of 16 knockouts, 75% knockout ratio, right? Knockout percentage. 2 submissions and 2 decisions, right? So from that, you can just tell like people don't want to stand up with him. So if you see him on the stand up, he sees everything. His eyes are like I don't know, it's like someone's holding it like open from the top and the bottom. His eyes like his whole face essentially. Yeah, so he sees everything. Going back to Zaleski, leg kicks. Gotta be really careful with the leg kicks when you kick into leg kicks, just because when you go for a leg kick, again, it's very opportunistic with his wrestling. So he finds it easy to catch you when you're coming in. It's quite a counter striker with that. So when you're trying to strike him, especially on leg kicks, he is ready to punch back. So he counters you with a hand strike when you kick him, but also he can catch your leg and then take you to the ground and throw up all kinds of submissions. So that can potentially be a path to victory for him. Obviously, be with Salikhov being very adept at like leg kicking and kickboxing. But also, I know Salikhov is quite a strong guy, super strong. So it would be probably hard. I think it would be super hard for Zaleski to keep him down, even if he takes him down. Obviously, again, Zaleski is not amazing at wrestling, so it's going to be quite opportunistic for him. If he ever takes Zaleski down, takes Salikhov down, it will be because Salikhov gave him an opportunity to. So from what I'm looking at, the fight just what it boils down to really is if they keep standing, Salikhov takes it. He's got good gas tank, got good hands, spinning kicks, leg kicks. He sees everything. He's got great defense, good head movement. So on the stand-up, he's a beast, right? So Salikhov can't really face him on the stand-up. But then when you think about it, what else can Salikhov do? That's what I'm thinking. So what can he do to make sure the fight turns out to his advantage? The only way he can do it is obviously try to wrestle and grapple. However, he's not that amazing on that front. Obviously, looking at his nickname as well, Mr. Capoeira, he likes to strike as well. So it might be like a fan-friendly fight. I believe though, Salikhov is gonna walk him down. Salikhov likes to walk people down. Walks him down, starts banking, sees everything, and potentially might take his head off. So I don't see Zaleski, bridging that gap between his striking and grappling too much with Salikhov. Again, Salikhov being quite strong, he sees everything. And with Zaleski not being amazing with his wrestling. So I would say it's a Salikhov win on this one. Potentially a knockout. Actually, I see a knockout. All right. Bare minimum Salikhov win. That's me saying, I'm gonna get through this quite quickly. It took me a while to get through that very first fight. So on to the next fight. Then we got Ribas, VanZant. Paige VanZant hasn't fought for a long time. I want to say about 2 years, maybe at least a year. She's coming back against Amanda Ribas. Right, based on the physical dimensions, then height-wise, matching quite similar height-wise. The reach, Ribas has got more of a reach than Paige, and that will come into play in this fight. It will be a massive factor, I believe. So both of them are mostly stand-up fighters. Ribas is more potentially can mix it up with a wrestling and takedown. I've seen her take people down, ground and pound, quite heavy on the ground and pound. Paige tends to like to do a judo trip on you. Judo trip, and once she takes you down, she throws up some submissions, rear naked choke, arm bars, all sorts. So she's quite good with the jiu-jitsu, offensive jiu-jitsu. Ribas tends to be, I'm going to walk you down, I'm going to move around. She does a lot of stutter stepping, in and out movements, strikes, quite decent striking, moves her head a bit. Very, very disciplined striking, actually, very disciplined striking. Paige, for me, last time I saw her fight, I mean, obviously I'm talking about a few years back, she's quite fancy. She kicks nice. She throws her hands quite well. But you can see they're not carrying a lot of weight. They don't bang like that. But also her chin is quite high in the air. So that can be a very dangerous aspect of this fight. So for me, I feel like I see Ribas walking her down quite a bit, taking the fight to her. She's very high energy, Ribas as well, very high energy. Leg kicks. Paige is adept with the kicks as well. Ribas love kicks as well. Hands, potentially clinching with Paige. I see him almost again out wrestling Paige as well if she needs to. But on the stand up, I feel like she will kind of take Paige into deep waters, high volume stand up. And again, with Paige not being, recently active enough, I feel like that's going to play against that on this one. So definitely I kind of see Ribas taking this on that front. So yeah, on to the next. Then you got Jessica Andrade and Namajunas. Right. This is obviously a rematch of a previous fight where Andrade took the title from Rose Namajunas. I was going to say Paige there because, again, Rose hasn't fought for a while as well. I think a year as well. And after that fight, she kind of flirted with the prospect of retiring. But apparently, according to interviews, she's now back in the mind frame she needs to be for this fight. I would say though, like just based on watching the videos again, and the fight style. Styles make fights, all right? What that means is different style matchups, can mean that somebody, is facing their kryptonite. I feel like Rose is facing a kryptonite with Andrade. A lot of people going off their previous fight. Obviously, Rose has more of a reach advantage with Andrade. So Andrade, she fights long. She moves around laterally. She feints a lot. Everyone loves Rose's movements on the stand-up. She's good with the jiu-jitsu. She can wrestle you if she needs to. She got a decent amount of power. She bangs a little bit. She knocked out what's her name, Joanna. So she bangs a little bit. But when talking about power, Andrade is a powerhouse. So she definitely bangs. All right. She comes to you like the juggernaut. Right, little juggernaut. She comes to you. She wants to take you out. That happened. That worked to our disadvantage in the last fight where she fought Weili Zhang. Weili Zhang beat her up like she found a thief in her house in the middle of the night. Andrade approached her, chin in the air, basically reckless abandon, coming for Weili Zhang's like everything essentially. Obviously. I don't know if you're watching this, if you saw, what's her name? Nunes versus, what's that girl's name? The Beast. I forget her name. The Brazilian girl. She used to be accused of doing steroids. She's left the UFC now. She's in Bellator. Will come back to me. Yeah. It was basically the fight to determine who's the best female fighter ever. And Nunes took out, I forget her name, but Nunes knocked her out. It was the same because this lady that was fighting Nunes, Amanda Nunes at the time, she approached Nunes almost as if like, you're beneath me. I don't have no respect for you. So I think that for me, watching the fight with Andrade and Weili Zhang, I felt Andrade underestimated Weili Zhang a little bit and just really banked too much on her power. And they always say that. People say that a lot in MMA. The commentators say that, like, people fall in love with their power. And that I think that's what happened to Andrade. That's what happened to the other lady that fought Nunes the other time. So, yeah, I don't know where that name's gone. I was forgetting about the name. But coming back to the fight then. So I feel like based on their fighting style, one, the win is either going to be lopsided. It's going to be lopsided whenever it happens. So whoever overcomes, whoever does well, is going to do really, really well based on their fighting style. So Rose Namajunas, she tries to, again, like, not point fights per se, but she likes to point fight a little bit, especially given that she doesn't want to stand in front of Andrade. So she wants to point fight. If you've seen Andrade, she fought Joanna. Joanna is high energy, 5-round, non-stop movement. She's down for that all day long. And that's the only way she managed to beat Andrade. And Rose will want to do the same, where she's not stood in front of her, she doesn't plant her feet, she's constantly perpetual motion, just moving around quite a lot. But then, with Andrade coming forward non-stop, Andrade is high energy, she's a powerhouse, high energy. you have to be able to keep that up the whole fight. Bearing in mind also, granted, Rose has a lot of power. She was marking Andrade a lot during the previous fight. She was taking apart Andrade, like piecing her up, right? But if you watch really closely, in round 2, Rose started to hop on her feet, essentially hop in one place. For me, that tells you that they're starting to lose energy, starting to get tired, and she started to plant her feet a bit more. So it just goes to show it takes a lot of energy, a lot of, a lot of gas tank to be able to keep that up for 1 round, let alone 5 rounds. And I feel like Andrade's not going anywhere, right? You can mark her up, all sorts. You can probably even knock her down, but she's still going to be there. And I feel like also because Rose is always moving around as well, the game plan is just it's almost a point fight, right? She's not planting her feet. She's not trying to take her head off, which then means that she won't really be able to take out Andrade, right? So because of that, I feel like with time, Andrade is going to drag Rose into deep waters. He's going to start very well for Rose. Rose is going to be piecing her up, doing all the fancy stuff, moving laterally, moving side to side, just finding that groove, basically killing it. But I feel like Andrade is going to slowly take over and drag her into deep water and drown her, essentially. She'll probably knock her out, probably again, I don't know, wrestle her down, ground and pound, all sorts. I just feel like Andrade is Rose's kryptonite. Rose is an amazing fighter, but I just feel like Andrade is going to take it. So there goes my prediction on that one. So the next one then, you got the title fights. You got bantamweight fight, title fight between Petr Yan and Jose Aldo. If you're watching this, you can see that I'm smiling already because the next 3 fights are amazing fights. Definitely, if you're into MMA, stay up, watch it with your friends, all sorts. Just like make an occasion of it, smash it, right? So I'm gonna break it down. So it's a bantamweight fight. Obviously, Jose Aldo is the featherweight GOAT. He had quite a lot of title defenses, at least I think about 10 title defenses in the featherweight before he got knocked out by Conor. And then he's gone down a weight class to bantamweight now. He fought Marlon Moraes on his debut in the bantamweight division. I'm going to say when I saw that fight happen live, I thought Marlon won that fight just based on outputs, even though Marlon was moving backwards a lot and it was basically point fighting quite a lot. I thought Aldo won that fight. I thought Marlon won that fight initially on first viewing, but watching it again, I see why they say Aldo won that fight because, again, Aldo was pressing forward. The scoring system usually based on like effective striking, right? For the most part, Marlon was backing off just because Aldo was hurting him. So even though Aldo's outputs wasn't that amazing, his striking was so effective to the point where Marlon was backing off and just basically like, point fighting, kicks and little strikes here and there. So when you're talking about purely effective striking, I'd say Aldo took that fight. I was initially swayed by the fact that Aldo didn't put out too much strikes or outputs. So I thought, what's he doing? But then coming on to this fight, then Petr Yan has been on a roll since he came to the UFC. It's not really, for me, his records. All right, let's talk about his physicality. So reach-wise, 1.7 meter reach, Aldo 178. It's going to be a standard fight. All right. Aldo is known for his anti-wrestling antics, so like he's very skilled at keeping the fight standing. Petr Yan likes to keep it standing. He mixes up the takedown every now and again, but he keeps it standing for the most part. Aldo, actually, they're the same height. I'm surprised, but Aldo is going to be the bigger guy on the day, 100%. Both of them they're packing. Josh Thompson would say they're packing dogs. They got dogs in their hands. I'm saying, they bang. Both of them, they bang like crazy, right? Their hands bang, right? I've seen Petr Yan go, punch flipping you right, where I favor into a different dimension, right? His power can't look unreal sometimes. Same way Aldo is like fast twitch, pure fast twitch, like crazy lightning fast hands. And honestly, I swear to God, when I look at Aldo's hands when he's fighting, it's like he's wearing like, I don't know, 12-ounce glove or something. It was like a boxing gloves. His fist is so massive. So I think that's where his power comes from. I'd say though, like based on where I see this fight going, so it's going to be a stand-up fight for the most part. I see obviously Petian trying to mix it up a little bit, and that would be because he is not feeling maybe comfortable, or maybe he's getting beaten to the punch, or maybe he's not really feeling comfortable on the stand-up. So probably want to mix it up. Usually when people try to mix it up, it's usually because they want to take it to a different place, right? They don't like where the fight is going on the stand-up. They want to go to the floor. So see him trying to mix it up. Aldo keeps it standing. Aldo potentially takes him out, right? I'm going to tell you why. So, right, so Petian, he can switch stances every now and again, mostly orthodox. Very heavy hands, right hand, left hand. He's awkward with the way he fights. He looks very stiff. Like he looks like he can't really throw a body kick, let alone a head kick, but he does all of the above, right? Leg kicks, body kick, head kicks. Usually he kicks from his left side more. So when he switches stances, he kicks from left side mostly. Whenever he switches stances, on the orthodox stance, his left hand his jab is very educated. His left hand is very versatile, very dynamic with his left hand. However, his right hand is just basically straight to down the pipe, right? So again, it looks stiff, but it doesn't look stiff. So he looks strange when he fights, right? But he's packing a lot of bang. He's banging, bro. He's banging heavy. So yeah, and for me, on the stand-up, he doesn't move his head enough. I feel like his chin is questionable, which brings me to why I'm thinking Aldo takes it. Because Aldo, again, when you come up to the stand-up, offensively is amazing. I believe Aldo's going to walk him down, right? He walks him down. He's the bigger guy. They both believe in their hands. They might meet in the middle. Again, like whoever backs up first, I see Jan backing up first because of Aldo's power and also Aldo's head movement. He's defensively sound on the stand-up, likewise offensively. So I feel because Jan is lacking slightly in defensive department on stand-up, he's going to cave in first, but also slightly he's lacking the power, I believe. That's a big shout because Petian is packing power. So I see Aldo beating him on the power side, beating him on slightly maybe on the fastness side, beating him again slightly a lot on the defensive stand-up defense, head movement side, and then potentially Petian probably going for a takedown, and that would be like a Hail Mary, like one of my boys says. Basically, last resort move. Aldo will probably take him out. I see a knockout on this one. It might be Petian taking Aldo out. I feel though like Aldo's gonna win this one. All right, I feel like Aldo's gonna take him out. It's a 5-round fight, so I don't see it going the distance whatsoever. I don't see it going the distance. So Aldo probably round 3. Aldo takes it. That's my prediction. Definitely Aldo for me. So on to the next one then. Excuse me. I got Volkanovski, Holloway. Obviously, this is a rematch of a previous fight where Holloway lost his title to Volkanovski. I rewatched that fight. Initially, when I saw that fight, I thought, oh my God, Volkanovski just destroyed him, right? There were people coming out still saying they felt Holloway could have maybe won it. I was like, nah, what? So it just goes to show sometimes, just in general, people can be very biased and to the point where they don't see what's happening. I felt Volkanovski, Holloway is the cardio king, right? He's going to have that cardio all day long, 5 rounds, 10 rounds, whatsoever. Volkanovski is known for his cardio, but not as much. He slowed down in round 5. He slowed down a lot. You can see very obviously slowed down. But he was still in it. He was still putting out, his strikes, keeping up his strikes, counts and all sorts. But he slowed down. You could tell, it was obvious. Fighting style, though. Obviously, Holloway's taller than Volkanovski. Volkanovski is one of the shortest guys in the featherweight division. He's a champ. So that's beastly. That's beast. He's got more reach than Aldo. Sorry, Holloway. So he's got 1.8 meter reach. Holloway 1.75. This is gonna be a standard fight, right? Both of them are orthodox fighters. Holloway is a volume fighter, volume striker. I don't think he's ever gonna have that knockout power. He's never really gonna knock you out. Just volume again, cardio king. Volkanovski, he's got volume if he needs it, but he's got a lot of power. His hands bang a lot. So, however, he chooses, he picks his weapons very, he decides his weapons. Decides his weapons. He chooses, what weapons to use very, very smartly. Actually, speaking of smartly, he's very aware, very fight IQ super high. I think he's going to be a champion for a while, unless somebody comes in with crazy wrestling, jiu-jitsu. He's, again, based on his size, it's hard to take him down. He's capable in wrestling. I've not really seen a lot of evidence of jiu-jitsu. Again, this is going to be a standard fight, so that's probably not going to come into play too much. I saw he tried to mix it up a little bit against Holloway in the last fight. Holloway kept it standing for the most part. But he, again, if Volkanovski takes it down, he's probably just going to ground and pound you, maybe make a choke. Nothing crazy, amazing, fancy jiu-jitsu. But yeah, on the stand-up, he moves around quite a lot laterally. I believe he's the best representation of city kickboxing fighting ethos in terms of they move around laterally. They like to keep a good distance between them and their opponents. They choose when to engage. So they come in whenever they come in, they want to engage. So they kind of blitz you and then get out. So they get in, get out. All right. They blitz you, get out. Move laterally, leg feints, leg kicks, hand feints, hand kicks. Obviously, leg kicks were key in the last fight, and I see him doing that again this time around. So again, going for the leg kicks. Again, he's very aware, so you can adapt on the fly. Very smart. IQ is amazing. His stand-up, his guard is really, really, really tight. So like on the stand-up, his hands are really tight to his chin. Like covers up very well. Coming in the pocket, he's very quick in there. Like throws in all the combinations he needs to throw. He fights very well going backwards, which is crazy skill to have. There's hardly any holes in his game on the stand-up. Hardly any holes in his game. Amazing. And obviously it's going to be a stand-up fight. Again, Holloway is a ninja in there as well. Spinning kicks, leg kicks, mostly orthodox fighter. Volume, no power. So I see, obviously, if I could Volkanovski matching him in the volume department, again, trying to take his legs out, squat him up, whichever stance he's in. Also the leg kicks, it's hard to stop the calf kicks. So it's going to be throwing them leg kicks all day long. If Holloway changes up to just purely striking, Volkanovski's got the power to beat him, and the speeds to beat him to the punch. So again, I see Volkanovski taking this, right? If you're a Holloway fan, don't kill me, but I have respect for every fighter. I feel like Volkanovski's got this, all right? I'm a fan of Holloway as well. All right, going on to the main card then, not the main card, the main event, Usman Masvidal. Right, so obviously this is a last minute, it's a late entry by Masvidal, 6 days notice. Obviously they'd sort of been lined up to fight recently. So they've always been on each other's radar. From the front of, from the aspect of mental preparation, both of them are prepared for each other. From a physical perspective, potentially Masvidal might not be in the best shape. I don't see him being in the best shape for this. I see him doing a lot of media as well. So I don't really see him doing amazing on this one. I feel like just looking at his mentality as well, he seems to be not the most professional fighter ever. Mr. BMF. I do all sorts of crazy shit. excuse me. I do love also crazy stuff outside the ring. But you know, I'm still able to kill it when I get in there. That's what I feel like. That's what his approach is. I've seen him talking about eating pizza and stuff recently as well. So I mean, he's the BMF for a reason. He's a crowd pleaser, right? Fan favorite. But he's coming up against a guy that is like, he lives his life, right? He's got a wrestling background. He's got super high energy, right? Never slows down through 5 rounds. Masvidal was seeing slowing down after round 2 against Nate Diaz. After round 1, he slowed down. You know, he had his actually after round 2, he had his hand up on his head, like, so, like, he's tired. So it's going to be a nightmare for Masvidal. All right, it's going to be a nightmare. Masvidal, his path to victory is to have this fight, keep this fight standing. Right, I saw him against Damon Maya. Maya took him down in the first round, single leg. Second round, he was stuffing a lot of Maya's takedowns. Third round, Maya took him down again late in the round. So Maya is not anywhere close to Usman's takedown capability or his stand-up capability. So Usman probably will keep him engaged up the top. So, like, keep him striking and then change levels, take down, right? And Usman is a bigger fighter than him. He's a bigger person than him. Obviously, Masvidal used to go and work training a fight in lightweight, and now it's a welterweight fight. So Usman's a naturally bigger guy. I believe he's probably going to be stronger, especially on the grappling. Again, like on the stand-up, Masvidal's got, you know, amazing stand-up skills. Everyone seems to, I don't know, sing to the high heavens about his stand-up skills. I'm not super amazed by it, though. I'm not super impressed by it. He's got, you know, he moves his head out of the way, good head movements, good jab, switch stances whenever he effortlessly, mostly orthodox. He catches a lot of kicks. He throws leg kicks every now and again. Stands up to really tall, though, really tall. So if he's standing up really tall in this fight, it's going to be a problem for him because, again, it'd be hard for him to stop the takedowns. So he naturally stands up really tall, especially when you get tired. You revert back to your natural tendencies. So again, like, Usman is going to be his kryptonite. All right, I see him talking, you know, a whole lot of craziness before this fight, but a fight is a fight. Like, it's no joke. A fight is no joke. So again, on the stand-up, potentially Masvidal taking there in terms of like shading it slightly on the stand-up again, because Masvidal is more proficient there. You know, very straight strikes. You know, very sharp hands. I wouldn't say his head movement is that amazing. His stand-up defense is not that amazing either. So again, you should be able to hold his own slightly on the stand-up, but I see him switching it up, taking him down, even on the clinch. Usman is probably going to take him out, like with knees, elbows. So Usman is his fight to win, all right, or it's his fight to lose, all right. So that's it, guys. So just to review and pick out my more confident picks, all right, out of these 6 I broke down. So I definitely go for Usman, right? Usman, definitely, I'm quite confident about that. Volkanovski, I'm quite confident about that as well. Not too confident about Aldo Yan. Andrade, Namajunas, not too confident about that. Ribas, I see Ribas winning, so that's 3 confident picks for you. Zaleski, Salikhov, I'm not too confident about that. So 3 of those fights, 3 out of 6, I'm saying 100%. Put your bet on them, people. All right. Okay. It's MMA though, so anything can happen, but definitely very high chance 3 of these paying off. All right, guys, that's it. You find this podcast on every platform. You go YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast. You find it everywhere. All right. So no excuse not to obviously tune in, get your bets in, do all the good stuff, share, comments, give me some feedback, any feedback whatsoever. take the piece out of my hair if you want to. All right. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers.